Hey everybody, happy Friday. It's Kathy Klotz-Guest and welcome to another episode of Yes and Brand Show. I'm so glad you guys come by. We're a little late, but you know, what keeps Fridays interesting is technical issues, right? And it's all good. It's all good. I'm just super excited to be here again. I am the author of Stop Boring Me, and my website is keepingithuman.com. And I'm just super excited to bring our guest on today because it's somebody that, we'll get into it. I don't want to give it all away, but I'm just excited to see where they've taken the brand, and we're going to talk to him about it. So it's Chris Carfi. Welcome, Chris.
Thank you, Kathy. Thank you.
You don't need an introduction, but you're going to get one anyway.
Right on.
Chris heads up global content marketing for GoDaddy, a well-known brand in this space. And he's been a startup founder. You worked for Anderson Consulting and Accenture back in the day when they called themselves Anderson.
Indeed, indeed.
And what I love most about you've got a background in computer science from Northwestern, all this great stuff. But my favorite fact that I did not know about you was that you are from the motherland of improv, from Chicago.
Indeed, indeed. Used to live literally rock throwing distance from Second City, right around the corner.
That warms my heart. That just warms my heart. I did stay at Second City, but in LA, in Hollywood. And where you've got UCB, Improv Olympic West, you've got Second City, all sort of in that sort of off Hollywood Boulevard. And but going to Chicago, I think it's sort of biologically required for improvisers. At least once every couple of years, we are required to make the pilgrimage back to to the Holy Land, as it were,
Indeed.
In Chicago. So, well, welcome, Chris. So excited to have you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for the invitation, and glad to be here.
Oh my gosh, it's so great. And joining us now is Mitch. Hey, Mitch. Hey, Mitch.
Hello, Mitch.
Let's see what you got to say. A big fan of what Kathy's doing. Oh, thanks, man. Thanks, Mitch. Right back at you. Right back at you. Well, good. And we've got Felicia. Hey, Felicia. It is. Chicago really is like Mecca. I make the pilgrimage every couple years because I am biologically required, or they would revoke my improviser card. So it's in the contract with the secret handshake that I can't talk about. Well, let's kind of jump on into it. One of the things I am just really fascinated by, and you and I talked about this when we met at Social Media Marketing World, Chris, is how far GoDaddy has come and its evolution in terms of the brand. And we all know where it came from, so there's no need to kind of repeat. You've come in at this really interesting time in building community and reframing what the brand stands for. How would you today, Chris, if you were just in a couple sentences, describe the GoDaddy brand where it is today? What would you say?
Well, what we're doing today is really everything we can to help individuals and small businesses start and grow and run whatever ventures they have. So what we're really trying to do is making sure that everything we're doing at the brand is supporting those small businesses, those individuals who are trying to do something interesting. We want to make it really easy for them to start, and really trying to focus on all the tools that they need in order to go out and kick ass and be successful. So increasingly over time, it's really, what are the things that we can do to be helpful and supportive, and make sure that we've got folks to back up the folks who are actually doing the hard work, which is the group of customers that we have.
Yeah, and it's interesting too because I actually am a GoDaddy customer, and I think
thank you very much.
Yes, well, thank you.
Thank me. No. Thank me. No. Thank you.
Thank you. Don't think twice. Improv movie. Okay, gotta throw it in. It's from Chicago. I can't help it, folks.
Hey.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because we talked a little bit, you and I, again, about the evolution of where GoDaddy started, and I think at the time. It sort of repelled women, I think is a fair point to say. And I look at the brand today, and I love, one of the things that I really love is that it's embracing a lot of humor, and it's really trying to show a side that I think is more fun and lighthearted. And I'm always going to support levity, because I think levity is really one of the most powerful communication devices, and yet I think sadly feared. You guys are kind of moving into that space. Can you chat a little bit about it for the audience about what you're doing there and why the decision and what you're learning from it?
Sure. So I've been with the company for about 3 years. Blake Irving came in as CEO about 4 years ago, and really as part of the evolution after Blake came in, we had a whole new set of a lot of executives come in, and really part of that was realizing that, this company that's been around for over 20 years at this point, but really needed to grow up some of those aspects of what was happening with the brand. And everybody who comes in has their personal stories, and really trying to understand what's the empathy that we can have with the customers, and we kind of want to have fun too. And so I think that comes through with what we're doing. And while, branding per se is part of it, I think a lot more is enabling everybody to be the, sort of the full entire human that they are. And a big part of that is we're all kind of, funny and a little bit wacky at times. There's a great post that Stephen Aldridge, who is our chief product officer, did, probably about a month ago now, over on the Amex Open blog, about how do you bring your whole self to work, and how do you really get that true, how do you and really have that integrity between all of the aspects of who you are as a person, as opposed to having your, kind of fun, engaging side out of work. And that's like, I badged in, I have to be very, very, very formal now. And then I badge out. It's like, okay, let's do it again. It's like, no, let's like just actually be who we are. And so I think that starts to come through with a lot of the things that we're doing.
Yeah, no, I amen to that, because humor is human, and you can't turn it on and off. I think this idea, I always thought it was really funny. As somebody who has studied improv and comedy, it was always funny to me that we compartmentalize and we expect employees to like leave their personality in the car in the parking lot and then walk into the building, and then all of a sudden they're like turning into robots, and then you can go back and get your humanity suit on when you leave the building. And it just always cracked me up. It was like, how people don't compartmentalize that way, and when you lose the whole self of the human being, of your employees, you lose the creativity, the things that the awesome, the whole awesome part of humanity that comes to work and has great ideas. And that is such a part of really making, you want employees to feel engaged. Well, we all do, but the way to do that is to really make them feel like their creativity and their problem solving and their wonderful ideas are welcome at work.
Absolutely. And that's exactly it. And I'm totally going to shamelessly rip off the humanity suit line, because I freaking love that.
The flesh bag.
Exactly.
Well, it's a warning for everybody that listens. Sometimes Kathy says things that sometimes she doesn't even control. It just kind of comes out, and my husband just knows when to just walk away. But it's me. But it's what makes me me. And I think that's what's so beautiful about celebrating your employees, because it's your source of strength. It's your superpower. It's the thing that makes you different. And Yes and Brand show for folks that are joining us that might not have seen it before. Yes and Brand, Chris, I think you probably know this, coming from the land of improv. Yes and is really the cornerstone and the foundation of improv. And Yes and is really about how you yes and your customers, how you yes and your employees. So what we're really talking about with this conversation, and one of the things I always try to do with all our guests, is the conversation through the lens of how are you saying yes to your employees? How are you saying yes and adding on to the needs of your audience? And I think we're kind of starting with employees based on what you've said, which is really bringing more of the fun and creativity of your employees to the surface, which I think is a beautiful thing.
Absolutely. We're seeing and doing a lot of that more actively and more overtly as we continue to evolve as a brand. So just thinking over the last couple of months, we have folks who have gone out and done massive multi-100-mile runs as part of corporate supporting events types of things. We've got folks like Isaac Irvine on our team, who actually had a video go ballistically viral, where he was talking to his son about bullying, and it ended up getting picked up by BuzzFeed and a whole bunch of other folks. And that sort of, how do you your whole self with the work and stop having such a clean delineation between the two is a big part of that. We have other folks who are doing, their own blogs and setting up events and going out, and, lots of folks have the really passionate about that they're looking at as small businesses as well. And so really trying to take that yes and concept and, yes, you're a GoDaddy employee, and you have all this other cool stuff that you do as well. So keep doing that, because that is what makes it really, really, really interesting.
No question about it. I love what Felicia says. She loves the changes GoDaddy has made with respect to their branding. Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you, Felicia. Thank you. We're working every day and actively listening for suggestions. So if you have any, definitely let us know, please.
No doubt. And I love, one of the funny things that you guys did recently was so I love different techniques in humor. You guys anthropomorphize the internet, and you make the internet a guy, which, it's interesting because I think it's just a fun concept to do. And you have them in a series of like talk show interviews, and, one of my favorites is when he talks about his voice at puberty, and it's like that dial-up modem sound.
It is totally, yeah, it's totally the Hayes 2400 baud connect.
20 minutes later, you come back with your coffee. It's like, nope, still not connected. All right,
exactly.
Back in the early AOL. Sorry, AOL, but yeah, I just love that. It just tickles my funny bone, and I just love that because it's about poking fun of sort of the maturity and where the internet has come from and your own journey. And I just think that's such a fun concept. How did you guys come up with that? Or can you speak to sort of some of the idea generation that you guys have had around your brand?
Yeah, that particular campaign just started with, working through a lot of brainstorming and idea generation, and really understanding that, being online and being connected to the internet is really a thing that small businesses have to have as part of their DNA if they're going to be successful. And so came through that process and, poked around a lot of different ideas, and it was really, really, really fun and interesting to think about, I had forgotten about, the sneezing panda. I had forgotten about the modem dial-up song. I had forgotten, well, I actually hadn't forgotten about the Rick Astley song, but, it was still there. And so trying to find a way to weave a thread through all of those different things that are really part and parcel of what the internet has been, over the past generation or so was a fun challenge. And, I think it worked out okay. And it's really fun to see how those types of, in that case, personifications of this abstract concept have worked out for us.
Love it. I love it. Hey, Liberty. Good to see you, girl. What's going on? Happy Friday. Yeah, she really enjoys her humor. I do too. I'm always in support of brands becoming more human, and humor is just a part of the human experience. Why wouldn't you? But I'm somebody who came out of marketing and also 20 years of stage comedy work, and so I never understood why brands wouldn't. So I feel like we're in this era now, this renaissance is happening where everyone's embracing it, or at least there's much more public acceptance to go in that direction. And I love it. I think it's the right move. And what strikes me a lot about, thanks, Liberty. I love hearing that it resonates with you guys too. One of the things that it strikes me is when you're talking about your customers, you're a domain registrar. That's how everybody knew you. That's how you started, right? GoDaddy was in the domain registration business. Now that's a commodity. But what I really, really love is that you've built community and you've recognized that, look, it's not just about that, because behind the people that are going to GoDaddy, there's a small business community. Mm-hmm. And it's not about, that's just step one. Step one is securing the domain. Step two is getting your website up and running your business. And there's a whole life of a small business person. And it's not just that. And I think when you move it from just focusing on cheap domains and blah, 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 you commoditize. But what I think you've done so well, what GoDaddy has done just, I think, really well, is it's pivoted from just that to understanding how do you evangelize a build community around what it's like to be a small business and every aspect, not just forget about just the domain registration. That's just only one aspect. Can you tell us a little bit about that journey of sort of how you recognize that that's where you needed to go, and what'd you learn along the way?
Yeah, absolutely. So again, in that period, probably 4 years ago or so, really the crisp realization that it's about the small business and all of the different things that a small business person needs to be successful online. So getting a domain is one sort of way to on the website, and we have a product now called Go Central that lets you do that really easily, is another way to start that. We know that some folks want to get started with their telephone and want to set up a second line for their business. So we have a product called Smart Line that lets them do that. And so realizing that there are all of these different sort of facets and points of view that a small business can take to get started, and whether it is a domain or the website or the phone line or other aspects, those are all important things, but being able to have a single place that you can go as a small business that has all of those things and they all work together, they integrate, and even outside of the GoDaddy ecosystem. So for example, Go Central can hook up to your Facebook page if that is another aspect of how the business is getting online. And all of those things, one of the key insights that we had was it's really important if you're a small business person, what we heard time and time again is really want to be able to have somebody and have an organization that we're working with that our back, that I can call up 24/7 no matter where I am and get an actual live human being wearing their human suit that can talk to help through if there are questions or suggestions on next step and such. And we have literally at this point, thousands and thousands of customer care individuals all across the US and all across the globe, because we are a global company now that is looking at all of that. So the evolution really was the realization again, 4 or 5 years ago, from a point technical solution to technical kind of product that everybody knew us for, into how do we really become that home and that home base for small businesses for all the different things they're trying to do online.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I know, and it shows. I think there's much more. You guys are so active in sort of evangelizing and in community management in a way in the last couple of years that I hadn't seen before. So there's just this whole evolution of repositioning your brand, and it's not an easy thing to do, I'm sure. If you were talking to people who might be thinking about pivoting and such jargon, hey, honey, I pivoted. This relationship needs a pivot. It's just, I think, again, we're in Silicon Valley. We're in the land of jargon. I hate to say it, but if you're talking to businesses that were like, look, I've got to transition. I've got to make this transition. What are some of the first things that you might recommend to people listening in that kind of same scenario?
So there are a few tools that come back to time and time again. And really, ultimately, I think a lot of it comes down to empathy for the customer. It's really understanding what the customer wants. And we try to do that with our customers, and any small business can and should be doing that as well. Really understanding what is the need, what is the problem, what is the opportunity that the customer is going through. There's a tool that we've used a lot called empathy mapping. There's a great book. I don't know if you've seen it by Dave Gray and Cindy Brown and others called game storming. I don't know if you've
yes.
seen that.
Yeah, I know. Yes.
So for folks, for folks on the stream, if you haven't seen it, pick it up like tomorrow. It is a collection of probably 100 or so different games and tools, and a lot of them feel very improv-y in a lot of ways. And one of the tools in there is this idea of doing an empathy map, and draw a circle, put eyes and a little nose on it in the middle. That's your customer, and then kind of break it into four corners of what is the customer thinking? What are they seeing? What are they hearing from others? What are they feeling? And take 10 or 15 minutes and just get a blizzard of Post-it notes of everybody in the room and sort of go around those four sections of, okay, so here's our customer. What are they thinking when they might be coming to us? What are they seeing out in the marketplace? What are they hearing from their, most importantly, what are they feeling? Are they excited? Are they anxious? Are they really gung-ho? Are they curious? And use that to guide what the conversation and what the products and what are the different ways that the organization can be moving into this new thing that they're going to do. I didn't say pivot. That they should really be thinking about. And I've even been in sessions where, oftentimes we will be thinking about new things, and we will actually bring in customers into those meetings, and we have customer councils and other sorts of advisory groups that we work with in a case where discussion might be going on and you can't literally and physically bring a customer into the conversation itself. We have had cases where we'll actually do that empathy map, and we will have like the empathy map put up on the wall or like in a chair representing the customer in the meeting to keep bringing that back. And it's so critical. It's so important, because otherwise we get, it's so easy to get wrapped up in our own thing. It's so easy to get wrapped up into, oh, here's this really cool technical thing. But if it doesn't help the customer solve a problem, or isn't a new capability that's going to help them, it might be interesting, but it might not be relevant to the business conversation.
Mm-hmm. I love that you said empathy, because it really is, and I'm familiar with the book, and it is a great book. It really is. And I'm proud to say, Stop Boring Me. The second half of the book is all games, all improv games in my book. And I think one of the beauties about when you say empathy, it warms my heart, because I really think that the philosophy of improv is really, it's really design thinking and empathy and humanity and humor all rolled up into one. That's really the heart and soul of improv. And I have done empathy mapping, and I love that you said that, because it's such an important thing to do. And here's the thing that I don't know how you feel, but I think empathy mapping continues the work where personas fall short. And I'm not going to say don't do personas. I spent 15 years in high tech running marketing departments while doing comedy 5-6 nights a week, which I still do. I'm a founder of 2 improv groups. There's a space where they live together. And what I always found, my own personal issue, was personas describe all the technical aspects of the demographics and maybe some psychographics, but they never go deep enough into the empathy part of it. And I love this idea of an empathy map, and then taking it with you like a cardboard cutout, and putting a little humanity suit on it, and giving it a little coffee, giving it a name, and then carrying it around like you make your high schoolers, don't get pregnant, carry around that baby. And you make the adults, everybody in marketing, carry around this cardboard cutout. But I know it's funny to think about, but I love that so much, because that is where I think personas just stop, and they don't work so great, because they just get focused on the technical aspects. And the empathy mapping really gets to the heart and soul of what is that daily pain and frustration and aggravation and everything your customer is feeling. And that is so important. And I just love that we're going here, because I think that really is the heart and soul of why I love improv so much. And people ask me, why do I love improv? Because it taught me 3 things. It taught me listening, it taught me empathy, and it taught me how to co-create with other people. And that is, I didn't learn any of that in business school, in my MBA program, or in 15 years in marketing departments. I didn't learn that.
Yeah, and all of those things. The co-creation one is is a really important thing as well, because that is where you get this new, generative thing that comes out of the conversation. You've got sort of your thing and somebody else has their thing, but when you put those together, you're both hopefully going to spark a conversation and a set of ideas that takes it to the next level. And that's why things like, we really are spending a lot of time thinking about how do we continue to bring diversity into tech, because there is so much work out there that's been done over the past, 15 years, and hardcore research out of Stanford and Harvard and other places, that the more diversity you have in a decision-making group, the better the decisions and the better the outcomes are, because as opposed to being in conflict, the groups that are doing that and be able to execute on it actually get better ideas, because folks help the others in the room highlight what are some of the blind spots that they might have. And when you realize, oh, I was doing that, or, oh, I had never thought about that, then you can start to get to that co-creation and get to those new sets of ideas. And that's where the, buzzword alert, innovation comes from. But that's where the cool new stuff actually happens, is when you get these new ideas that are coming through.
Absolutely. We got lots of comments here, so I want to try to get to some of the comments. Let's see if I can go down. My scroll feature is a little bit wonky here, but I think Liberty said, Liberty had mentioned how powerful that was. Thank you, Liberty. I lost the comment. I wanted to show it on the screen, but it's, I can't somehow bring it up here. Mitch also said, in addition to having 100+ domains and how much he loves GoDaddy, he really loved, the fact that we brought it back, the discussion back to the heart and soul of the customer, which is super, super important. Mitch has a really great comment here. Yeah, I tried dealing with professionals who may believe that they walk on water. Yeah, so true. It really is. Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Mitch. No, well said, well encapsulated. It really does come back to the human element. I think we all believe in human today. I think we're still talking about it because a lot of companies talk about it but don't do it. And it's easy to, and in fairness, it's easy in all the technical aspects and all the data, we're living in a time of such data overload. It's easy to become absorbed and obsessed with the data without remembering that the heart and soul of the story that the data tells is about your customer. And
that's right.
And it's easy for marketers to so lose focus. And I totally get that. I get that. Yeah, many who think we get you, Mitch. Totally agreed. Totally agreed. Absolutely. Many who believe they walk on water. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. And ego's really an interesting thing, because ego, I think a lot of companies that have big egos, and we've seen some poster children for bad companies in the Valley lately, some uber bad companies. So I won't mention any names, but they're uber bad. And in fairness, they're not alone. I think it's easy to get absorbed in what you're doing and forget why you do it, which is the heart and soul of the customer. And I think that's why the leadership that we're talking about here is so important.
Yeah, and it's that understanding that, and I forgot who originally said it many, many years ago. No matter how awesome the company is, there are, just by sheer force of numbers, there are more ideas and more good ideas outside the company, just because there are so many more people. And so really continuing to tap into that curiosity. And I think it was the first of the 3 points you made about improv, Kathy, the listening and just shutting the heck up and taking that information in and really balancing that that qualitative, that human, that messy, oftentimes contradictory things that we all feel as people, and then understanding how it fits with the data, but not being so obsessed with rows and columns on spreadsheets that all of those qualitative things get lost in the mix.
Yeah, no, I so love that. Preach. I feel like we're at Church of Marketing today. Amen. I feel it, Brother Carfi. I feel it. I will pass around the collection cup later.
Indeed.
But I love it because it embodies everything that I've always believed. And one of the reasons why I left to really bring improv and all these ideas that I've been practicing for, 15, 20 years into the work that I do, because I so believe in it. And I believe that is the way of the future. I really believe that the companies that are going to succeed in the marketplace are going to be the ones that have high empathy ratios and emotional intelligence and leadership that understands all that stuff. And we're seeing what happens, unfortunately, at the extreme examples where that's lost. And we're seeing that. So I think that's such a great example. How do you guys, I love that you believe in the whole employee, because I think you can't get to the whole customer if you don't start with the whole employee. How does GoDaddy, if you're involved in that part of the business, how do you guys harness ideas? Because you alluded to it, great ideas come from anywhere. And they could come outside the organization, but they can also come further down the food chain in the employee ranks and most definitely outside the C-suite. So how does GoDaddy harness all these amazing ideas of its really super smart employees?
Yeah, I think there are a few different things that we're doing and always trying to evolve that. So one is, as an organization, we have such an overt focus on the customer support and customer service side of things. For example, when I started, I've been here a little bit over 3 years now. In first week, went down to Arizona, did all of the kind of first week training types of things, and a big part of that is actually going into the call center and grabbing a set of headphones, jacking in, and actually listening to calls as they're happening. And so all of those thousands of customer support folks who we have and customer consultation folks who we have are getting all of those bits of data every day, and those feed into our internal product teams, our internal help systems. And so we're actually actively listening to not just the customers, but the people who are out there and really the heart and soul of a lot of the company, working with those customers every day and answering their questions and making sure that we're hearing from them. Hey, this is awesome. Hey, this would be a great idea if we could do this as well. And so we pull those things in. So I think that's another big aspect of it is, as an organization, and again, not trying to get too buzzwordy, but we really have embraced Agile as a methodology within the organization. So we've done it originally from the engineering side of things, and that is part of the DNA and their internal levels of accomplishment and sophistication of various Agile practices that various teams have escalated to, and we're taking that and really driving that across the organization. So for example, the content marketing team that is my team, we are doing those same types of processes. So we have sprints, we have our backlog of things, but when we get new ideas in, we will take those prior things and then say, okay, for the next week or 2 week, whatever our sprint length is, we're going to do these things. And then we go into an overt retrospective where we look back. It's like, okay, so this last turn of the crank, this stuff worked really well. This other stuff, yeah, not so good. Let's not do that anymore. But it gives us an opportunity to really iterate very, very quickly and bring that innovation, those new ideas in. And when we're doing those retrospectives, it's like, oh, okay, so next time, why don't we try this? And so we really try to bring that continual feedback and learning and testing into the way that we're doing things, which helps us go a lot faster and helps us figure out what stuff's working, what are the new things we can try. There's a very core aspect of testing and learning. And if everything we're trying works perfectly, we're not trying enough crazy, wacky stuff. And so let's try some things that, have a great possibility of an outcome. We don't know if they're going to work, but let's literally set up an experiment for trying this new process, trying this new thing, trying this new product, putting it out. And then that's where we do get both the data side of things. Yeah, that worked on, these metrics, and here's what people were saying and feeling and giving us feedback on. And then we can use that to learn more of what we should be working on next.
Yeah, I love that. I so love that. I smile as you said that, because I think it's so easy for brands to play it safe. And the hard part is knowing where that balance is. But if we don't try new things, you don't know. And in improv, many years ago, I had an instructor that said, you got to get in there and break shit. You got to break shit. You don't know where that line is if you're not in there monkey wrenching and breaking shit. And he was right. And I think it's true. It's like, but in any corporation too, I think there is that balance, and it can be a hard balance. It's not an easy one necessarily to do, but I love the fact that you guys are trying new ideas. You're trying new ways of communicating. You're trying new ideas for brand campaigns. You're trying new things to figure out where is that line and what is working. And you really can't know. I think most brands don't push the envelope far enough. And they say, well, that won't work. And then you talk to them and you uncover they're not really trying a lot of things. So it's very hard to make, that sort of deduction and say, well, it doesn't work. Well, how do you know? So I think that you're right. There is the agile in the, and I'll allow this jargon because it makes sense contextually. You've been granted furlough. You've been granted permission on this. I think there is the agile in engineering, but there's also the rapid prototyping and agile. Just get an idea out there, and you'll know really quickly. Even if it's just a small tweet or small whatever, you'll know if it's got legs, and then you can develop that into further content. But I think there has to be. And comedy is to me, it's a living laboratory. So the only way that I know if something works is I get it out there. And that's always been my mindset. And I think marketing can benefit from more of that. And what you're describing makes so much sense to me.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things that we're trying right now is there's a new series that launched 2 or 3 weeks ago called Thunderdome on Sundays. I think it's on ABC. And the interesting thing that our brand connection with that is we're a sponsor of the show. And then Sean Thunder, one of my co-workers, spells his name with the silent P at the beginning, is one of the coaches on the show. And so in addition to being a sponsor of the show, we actually have a little segment on the show. And then we're really diving a lot more deeply with the particular small businesses and entrepreneurs on the show, and actually doing a longer form content piece over on our blog as well. And so we're trying all of these different things, and we're going to see what stuff works, what stuff doesn't. And it's, talking about the experimentation, there are some really interesting small businesses on there. There was a company called Sorigami, SOAR, AGAMI or IGAMI, that was on the first episode, and they're working and experimenting with a foldable piece of paper that you can put on the armrest in your airplane, so you don't get into those elbow wars with the other seatmates. And they're also, it's great to see these small businesses and entrepreneurs who are experimenting with new things. All of these different things. But if we don't try anything new, we're going to eventually, as a brand, as an organization, as a business, paint ourselves into a corner of irrelevance. And so we need to constantly be trying new things to make sure that doesn't happen.
Love it. I love it. That's as it should be. And you're doing social listening, which also, again, listening is so important. And I love that you emphasized that a few minutes ago. And I just wish more brands would try that. I gave an example a few weeks ago on my Facebook wall. I was very frustrated because I'm still closing some of my mom's accounts after she passed, her bank accounts. And I was dealing with one bank who I shall not name. But they know what they did. They know who they are. And just the lack of empathy. And I was blown away by that, though. And I was just, sometimes it's not even the big things. It's the small things. So when you come into a bank and you've lost a loved one, and I know it's an extreme example of empathy, but it's a relevant example because, you've already got a client or a human being standing in front of you who's already kind of discombobulated and who's already up to here with like emotions and all this other stuff. And it's hard enough for them. And to not have empathy at that moment and walk them through the paces of, okay, now this is how you close an account and disperse an IRA that was set up and you're the beneficiary. And to not have that in place, that's just hard. And I think it was interesting because I wasn't getting anywhere with the bank. So I was told, go to their Twitter handle. So Chris, I went to Twitter and I tweeted out, hey, I need some help here. And I had 3 banks get back to me before that bank responded.
Three of their competitors? 3 of their competitors.
3 of their competitors said, we would not treat you this way. Here's our guarantee. Now, it doesn't do me any good because, this was an account of my mom's. But I love that they saw it, they listened, they responded. And the 3 competitors responded before the bank here did. And I thought, that's just the power. It's another example of the power of social listening and just really, are you listening? And I always say, look, if you're not listening, that's okay because your competition is. So you can take the tact of, we don't care. That's great. You don't have to care. Your competitors will.
Yeah. And I mean, first off, just, sorry, going through that, did the exact same thing many years ago with my dad and totally know exactly what you're going through on that. And there are lots of different ways I think organizations can do that listening, but when you get right down to it, I thought it was interesting. You were talking about the bank and it's interesting if you think about it. Companies are themselves legal fictions. I mean, a company is like this thing that exists now because a particular form was filed in Delaware. At its core, the company is a legal fiction, but it's made up of humans. It's made up of people. So, when you say the company can't do this or the bank can't do this, it's like, well, actually, there is no thing there. It's a collection of people who have made decisions and perhaps put policies or rules in place for whatever reasons. But there is that core of the people that make up that entity that are actually the things and the people and the aspects that actually one connects with. There is no thing there. With some, we'll see some interesting evolutions of that going forward. There's some really interesting technical things that are going on right now with blockchain and some other technologies, which actually there are cases where the thing is autonomous from the people that support it, but still in, pretty much all cases today, company is made up of people. It's like, soil and green.
It's people.
Exactly.
Everything comes down to it's people, and somehow a Charlton Heston reference. But
exactly.
I love that we've come a beautiful arc here, and I just love sort of that we're ending on that. And I hope that more technology means that with blockchain and some of these other tools, I hope it means that, look, we're going to offload humans and we're going to do the things, technology is going to do the things that human beings cannot do well, leaving humans free to do the things that humans do well. And empathy should be top of that list.
Yes.
And I hope we're getting to that place. So
empathy and creativity and all of those things that require novel thoughts, as you get into AI and machine learning, if you've got this big data set of history, you can train those, and that's awesome because then you can get those things going. But where there isn't historical data, that's where the creativity, that's where the novelty, that's where the empathy and the co-creation all need to play in. And that's something that, at least for now, humans are much, much better at.
Absolutely. Let's all human suit up. Let's all human suit up.
Exactly.
And bring it. Chris, what a delight. What a great place to end it. I feel like we covered a lot in a short amount of time. Will you come back?
I would love to, and thank you for the invitation. This has been a blast, and look forward to doing this again sometime soon.
You got it. And before you go, where can people find you, Chris? If they want to follow up with you and connect with you personally, where would you send them?
Absolutely. So I am C Carfi on all the things. So on Twitter and beyond, CCARFI on all of those. And a lot of the work that we're doing here at GoDaddy is GoDaddy.com, and our blog is at in the US GoDaddy.com/garage, and internationally GoDaddy.com/blog in whatever country you may be.
Fantastic. And as always, everybody, I'm Kathy Klotz-Guest. I'm the author of Stop Boring Me. You can check me out at keepitithuman.com. I'll always be wearing my human suit, and I know Chris is too. And pretty much most of our listeners are. So thanks for coming on this journey with us. We are every Friday. The Yes, Ann Brown Show is at 10 a.m. Pacific in Silicon Valley time. And hope to see you next week. So have a wonderful weekend. Thanks, Chris. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. Take care.
Thank you, Kathy, and thank you, everybody who joined us. Talk to you all soon.
Bye-bye.